everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Emily. For today's video, I wanted to give an example for, say you only have $10 left, what could get you through the day with a full day of eating. So yeah, we've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner for one. You could honestly feed two with this meal plan or have leftovers for the next day, depending on how you portion out these meals. I know by the time I've already actually made the meal, so it's actually the next day and I still have leftovers, which I'll show at the end of the video. All right, so let's get into it with the grocery shopping. We're going to Walmart to get some ingredients, so follow along. All right, and here we are just walking into the Walmart. I didn't really talk about it in the beginning of the video, but the whole point of this video is to not use any pantry items and only the items that we used or that we bought in store, just on the off chance that, say you just moved into a new place and you don't have anything in your pantry. I do think for my next video, I do want to try and do a sort of pantry stocking video just for your essentials so that you can be good to go on those pantry essential items. All right, and that is everything in our cart, so let's pop on home. Everyone, we are back from Walmart and this is everything that we got. I feel like for what we paid, we actually got quite a bit of food for the day. So we've got a head of lettuce. This is just iceberg lettuce, one banana, which I didn't show me putting it in the cart, but I picked it up on the way out. We have brown long grain rice. The brown rice, for some reason, was less expensive than the white rice, so I went with the brown rice. Then we have 1 can of black beans. This is just a 15¼ ounce can of black beans. And then we also have a 15-ounce can of mixed vegetables, a chipotle salsa can, chicken ramen noodle soup, and then 6 eggs. So altogether, this was $6.61. I feel like that is pretty banging for what we got, and we can get several meals out of this today. So yeah, I'm actually starving, so let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and make breakfast now. Okay, so for the breakfast, we will need 2 eggs, the chipotle salsa, and the black beans. Okay, so I'm gonna let my pan heat up. I've just got it on medium low or low to medium. So if you have one with the numbers, it's about 5. So I'm gonna let this heat up, and while I'm letting this heat up, I'm just going to whisk up some eggs. All right, so I've got my 2 eggs. I'm just gonna crack them in here and then whisk them up. All right, these are pretty well whisked. I'm just going to add some oil to my pan. Again, if you have a good non-stick pan, then you could probably do without the oil if you didn't have it in your pantry already. This is non-stick, but for the sake of people with non-stick pans, I am going to put just a little bit of oil in there. I just have vegetable oil. You can use butter if you have it, which I do have it. I just grabbed the oil instead. I would not recommend cooking eggs with olive oil. I know some people do that, but olive oil really isn't a cooking oil. It's more of a condiment oil, so I would not recommend that. All right, I'm just going to let that heat up for a minute longer, and then once that's fully heated up, we're gonna add our eggs in there. All right, so this oil is pretty well heated now, so I'm just gonna throw my eggs in here, and we are just going to scramble them. Oops, ouch, I touched the pan, that was hot. Don't be like me, don't touch the pan. All right, and while this is heating up, I am going to drain and rinse my black beans. All right, once your black beans have been drained and rinsed, I'm just gonna take a couple of spoonfuls of the black beans and I'm gonna put them on a plate. Once they're on that plate, I'm just gonna pop them in the microwave and microwave them for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, so it should be about that much beans. That was maybe 3 big soup spoons full. So I'm gonna pop this into the microwave for about 30 seconds. We just want them to be warm so that they're not cold on the eggs. All right, 30 seconds did it for these. These are steaming hot. So I'm just gonna set these off to the side while our eggs cook the rest of the way. All right, I think that's about done. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate these up on top of the beef. All right, so these are the eggs on top of the beans. So last step is I'm just going to open up this can of the chipotle salsa and we are going to drizzle a little bit on top. All right, so I'm just gonna dump it straight from the can on top. Ooh, that was a little too much. I actually just tested the salsa and it's a little spicy, so if you're not one for spice, I do like spice, but if you do not like spice or cannot handle it, I would recommend maybe trying to find something with a little less spice. You could get yourself a can of diced tomatoes, maybe even the smoked ones, and if you had an onion on hand, you could make some sort of a pico de gallo. The only reason we're not doing that is because we are going with non-pantry items. We are strictly going with what we bought from these stores. So again, we're going with this salsa since we can use it for another meal later on. But yeah, this is breakfast. You've got beans for the fiber and protein, eggs, you've got protein, and then salsa for flavor. So this looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and dig in because again, I am starving. All right, so next up we have lunch. For lunch, we are doing ramen noodles with an egg. So for the egg, I just covered it in some water in a pot, turn that on high to let it come to a boil. And once it is boiling, we are just going to cover it with a lid and then turn that heat off. Now what you should do is remove it from that burner, unlike I did, and set the timer for 6 minutes and you will have the most perfect soft-boiled egg. And once your egg is done, you're just gonna remove that lid and then we're just gonna scoop it out any day now and move it to a little ice bath that we've prepared for it off to the side. And then he's just gonna go night-night in his little ice bath. Alrighty, so next up we are just filling up another pot with 2 cups of water and we are going to bring that to a boil. I just turned it on high to bring it to a boil, and then once it is boiling, we are going to grab our ramen noodle packet and very easily open that. Don't forget to take out the chicken flavor packet so you don't dump it in there. And then we just put our little ramen noodle in the water. And then I just set a timer for 3 minutes. I think most people have made ramen noodle before, so you probably know, but just set a timer for 3 minutes. And while that is cooking, I just added some of those canned veggies that we added to the ramen noodles and let those warm up as the ramen noodle was cooking. All right, so that looks to be about done. So I'm just gonna turn that off and then we are going to add in the chicken seasoning to it. Don't forget to get the last little crunchy bits out. It's not really crunchy, I guess powdery bits. And give it a little stir. Make sure it's all nice and incorporated. And yeah, there she is. So we're just going to grab our egg that we peeled while the ramen was cooking. I hope you were a psychic because I didn't say that earlier, but you were supposed to peel your egg. And then we are going to grab ourselves some chopsticks and very poorly try to open up this egg. And once we do pop it open, we find out that it was actually a medium boiled egg because we did not remove it from the burner like we should have. But you didn't make that mistake because you removed it from the burner. Doesn't it kind of look like that one smiley face porridge from Mulan that Mushu gives to Mulan? Like, if you know, you know. Anyway, there's just my ramen sitting next to the window looking all pretty. Look at the steam coming off of it. That looks super good. I actually had a really good time eating that. Anyway, on to dinner. So for dinner, we need ourselves the brown rice. If you have a rice cooker, that's awesome. If not, you can do it on the stovetop. There's definitely directions on the back for stovetop cooking. I just did mine in the rice maker. All right, so next step, you are just gonna grab yourself a 1 cup measuring cup. That is definitely a 1 cup measuring cup. And you're just going to pour your rice into the 1 cup measuring cup. Holy guacamole, I did not realize how long this clip is when I was editing it, but I've already edited it, so I don't want to go back and re-edit it. So you're just going to watch me do that. Anyway, next up, we just rinse our rice. So we're going to dump our rice into a little strainer and then we just rinse it for however long it takes for the water to run clear. You'll find that it's a little murky when you first wash it, but it should be running clear by the end. And then we're just going to dump our rice into the rice cooker or into your pot if you're doing it on the stove. And I did actually add some salt in there. I didn't show it, but I added salt in there. So then we're just going to grab ourselves 2 cups of water. And then we are just going to add that 2 cups into our rice and make sure you spill a little bit to the side. Otherwise, you are not a real cook. Just kidding, you're a real cook. And then we are just going to turn our rice cooker on and wish her goodbye while she does her thing. And now what you shouldn't do is be like me and forget to film the clip of you where you chopped up the lettuce. But I did chop up lettuce, and there it is after I had washed it, so it's dripping a lot of water. I did save 2 big like lettuce leaves off to the side, like those little lettuce leaf thingies. I don't know how to talk. Those are lettuce leaves, and then the rest I chopped up. And then I just washed it, and we're just going to dry it in a salad spinner and fail at putting on the lid. And then we're just gonna give it a little spin. That's a lot of spins. All right, we're just gonna let it do its thing and do our best impression of the Thing from Addams Family. And eventually it will be nice and dry. And your lettuce should be super dry because look at all of that water. Holy freaking moly.
Holy moly!
All right, next up, we are just going to grab our canned veggies that we used earlier for the ramen noodles. This step, I will say, is optional, but I did it because I'm a little anal and I just wanted you to have that extra option. So what we are going to do is we are going to take a fork and just pick out the little corn kernels that are in there. It really didn't take that long. It took maybe 3 minutes. It wasn't long. And anyway, that was all of the corn that I got out of there. That's enough for this one dinner that we're making. I thought it was plenty. All right, and our last step is just to assemble the bowl. So I went ahead and I put a little over a cup of rice, of our cooked rice, into a bowl, and then we've got our lettuce, our corn, if you did pick it out of the canned veggies, and then we've got a little bit of the black beans that I just heated up in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then our salsa. So first I'm just gonna dump the black beans in there. then I'm just going to take our corn and also just dump that in there. All right, then I'm just gonna take about a handful to 2 handfuls full of the lettuce. You can put as much or as little as you like. I just did about like 1.5 handfuls, and then we're just gonna add our salsa. I think I did about like 3 spoonfuls of the salsa, but you can do however much or however little you like. All right, and that is the first option for our dinner. Now for our second option, we are just going to swap out the shredded lettuce for those leaves of lettuce. Remember we were talking about those leaves of lettuce? So we are just going to pop some rice into there, and then our black beans. Then we're just going to grab our corn and pop that in there as well. Pretty much you're just putting all of the ingredients inside the lettuce, and then however much salsa you want as well. I think I put like 2 spoonfuls in there. And then we're just going to fold it up burrito style, so just bring those outer corners in and then start to roll. I did have a couple of beans spill out as I was rolling, so maybe if you did 3 lettuce leaves, it might be a little bit easier, but it was still pretty structurally sound-ish, I guess my hands are saying. And yeah, there is your little sort of like unwich lettuce wrap style thing, whatever you want to call it.
But wait, there's more.
Okay, so remember that banana that we had from earlier? There she is. So you could either have her as a snack throughout the day, or if you get yourself a little mug and the leftover eggs from earlier, we can make ourselves a little dessert, which is exactly what we're doing here. Okay, so you'll want to take just one of those eggs and then just crack it directly into the mug. And then you're just going to start whisking it until it's well mixed. So it should eventually look a little something like that. All right, so next up we are taking our banana and we're gonna peel it monkey style. That's just you pinch the little tip at the end and then slowly undress it very delicately. And then you're gonna take a little knife and cut the banana in half. And then what you should have done here is actually cut it into like little smaller pieces so that you won't be struggling like how I'm doing right here when I try to mash it up inside of the egg. But eventually we did pull through because it should look a little something like baby vomit. I did like crush up those chunks a little bit more, but yeah, you want baby vomit consistency. It looks super unappetizing, but tastes real good. So then we're just gonna pop it into the microwave for 3 minutes. And then once those 3 minutes come, it's gonna look a little something like this. Really unappetizing looking, but trust me, it actually tastes really good. If you have cinnamon, cinnamon would go really good in it too. Alrighty guys, so we are all done with the meals and it is the next day and this is everything that we have left over. So I feel like you could make a whole another day with all of these ingredients, or like I said, you could perhaps feed 2, just depending on how you portion it out. But yeah, I mean, we've got the leftover veggies, a ton of lettuce. This was already the pre-washed, pre-cut lettuce that I did, but then we still have half of the head of lettuce remaining, 2 eggs, half of our banana, a ton of salsa. We've got the black beans left, still a decent amount of the cooked rice, and almost the entire bag of the uncooked rice. So yeah, you could get a whole another day's worth of eating with these ingredients if you just have a couple of extra ingredients maybe to add to them from your pantry. But yeah, I think we did pretty good. All right, you guys, those were all of the meals that we made today. I think we did pretty good on $6.61, and we still have money left over and food left over. If you like this type of video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you wanted to follow along, to subscribe. If you have any recipes that you use that are budget friendly, please feel free to comment them down below. I would love to see them and perhaps try them out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Please don't forget that food is a basic human right, and if you are struggling to eat, please check out your local food pantries or any resources that are available to you. I will try to post any national resources down below, but again, feel free to make any of the recipes in this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.